This was an absolute steal for the Miami Heat. Going out and trading Duncan Robinson on an expiring deal, saving some money on the cap while also acquiring a young 6'7" small forward who can really do it all. I'm here to break down the newest addition to this Miami Heat organization and saying a very hard goodbye to one of the greatest three-point shooters to ever put on a Miami Heat jersey. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest, but let's get right to it and break down goodbye to Duncan and welcome home Fontecchio. Now, if you don't know what I'm alluding to, Duncan Robinson was traded last night to the Detroit Pistons. Now, the Pistons are building something, but we're not here to discuss what that is, outside of the fact that they just acquired Duncan Robinson, one of the better three-point shooters amongst the entirety of the league, mainly from a spot-up position, but again, there's no way to shake it. Duncan Robinson, when it comes down to the ability to shoot the three-point shot, is amongst the top of the league. Now, he doesn't have the abilities of someone like Steph Curry, obviously, but when it comes to the spot-up game, he is a gem for a lot of good teams, and if you put him on any contending team, he could be a substantial piece for the right price. Now, the Detroit Pistons went out and gave him a 3-year, $48 million deal, which is great for Duncan. He's going to be getting paid a lot more than if he were to stay in Miami like we were discussing, as he would have had to take a team-friendly deal, which obviously would not have been smart for him financially. He's now able to go to Michigan, play for the Detroit Pistons, and he's going to be being paid handsomely, and he's also going to have a very, very expressive role in Detroit. I think this is a great pickup for Detroit, but focusing on what the Miami Heat got back in exchange, I think they did an even better job, not only because they are saving a little bit of money, but they got younger and they got more versatile and dynamic. So we'll read the entirety of this tweet from Shams before we break down the next one. Free agent shooter Duncan Robinson has agreed to a 3-year, $48 million deal with the Detroit Pistons, sources tell ESPN. Agent Jason Golshan, I apologize if I mispronounced that, navigated multiple options in the market, which included potential return to Miami or moves elsewhere. Now Robinson lands in Detroit. And it didn't end there, as we quickly got another tweet from Shams, subtweeting the original one, saying Detroit is trading Simone Fontecchio to Miami to acquire Duncan Robinson in a sign and trade, sources tell ESPN. So, not only did the Detroit Pistons go out and acquire Duncan Robinson, but they sent back Simon Fontecchio back to the Miami Heat organization. And you may be thinking, Houston, how is this going to be a substantial move? Well, he can play. He can flat out play. And obviously Duncan was Duncan to this Miami Heat team, and he was a three-point shooter that everyone loved because it felt like he was making every big shot. But after last season and not really having the progression that everyone was hoping for, and the contract coming to an end, it was time for Miami to move on. And that's exactly what they did. And in doing so, they saved some money, as said here by Ira Winderman. Heat getting back Simone Fontecchio and Robinson deal, taking back 1 year at $8.3 million in salary. NBA sources confirmed the Tucson Sentinel such was part of the agreement that allowed the Heat to reduce what otherwise would have been $10 million due to Robinson. So net cap/tax/apron saving, they were able to net, $1.7 million there and not give up a full $10 million in the sense of cutting Duncan Robinson or trading him away for absolutely nothing. So they got Fontecchio on a 1-year rental at $8.3 million. Overall, at the overall age, in the sense that he's still so very young, at the size he maintains and the overall versatility he could maintain on the basketball court, I think this is a home run of a steal for the Miami Heat. And the reason is not only did they give up Duncan and they saved a little bit of money, but they got younger. Fontecchio is extremely young compared to Duncan Robinson going into his age 30 season. He's going to be a good piece for this Miami Heat team while also being 6'7", with the ability to shoot the three-point shot, with the ability to put the ball on the floor and slash. He's going to be a great complementary piece for this Miami Heat organization. I really can't wait to see how it all plays out. And if you look at the year-by-year stats, yes, it is nothing that is going to overwhelm you. Nothing is going to jump off the box score, off the stat sheet at you from Fontecchio's really year-by-year stats. But you see the progression. You see the three-point shot percentage, which I have in a better format here. It is a bit different in the sense of how it's laid out, and the reason that is because they did the totals for the 2023-2024 season because he played for Utah and Detroit in that year. So it did year by year from team to team. And then for 23-24, they did a total stat, and that is why you have that individual row with no team organization logo there. But in those 66 games that he played, he shot 46% from the field and 40% from behind the three-point line. Last year, he did regress, and the shot percentage from behind the three-point line did drop to the low 30s at 33.1%. But overall, 33.5%. Fontecchio is a good three-point shooter and put in a good situation, in comparison to the Detroit Pistons. He could fit in very well in Miami, and he won't solely have to be a three-point shooter, despite the shots he's going to get. Could be a lot better reps than what we saw in Detroit. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity in this Miami Heat organization, not only as a possible starter, but as someone coming off the bench playing substantial minutes, allowing a lot of size, a lot of length, and the ability to stretch the floor at that 3/4 position because of the size he maintains at being 6'7". I think this is going to be a great trade, a great acquisition for the Miami Heat. Obviously, we talked about it ad nauseum, the Pat Riley postseason press conference, where he said he didn't want to run it back with the same team we have seen in the past, and that's exactly what he's doing, going out and moving players that have been a part of this Heat organization, like Duncan Robinson, for younger assets that maintain the same, if not more, abilities on the basketball court. Overall, I'm giving this a B+ trade for the Miami Heat organization. I sincerely think this is going to end up translating and working out for this Miami Heat organization in some of the best ways possible, not only getting younger, but also adding great versatility, great depth, and dynamic to this Miami Heat roster. Whether, like he's coming off the bench, if they trade Andrew Wiggins and he has to use some of those starting minutes and take some of those starts of the first starts of the season, I wouldn't even be upset about it. He's going to add great length to this lineup. Defensively, this Miami Heat team should be very respectable with the overall size and length they maintain. And if they don't trade Andrew Wiggins, this is really just a replica of Wiggins with a better three-point shot and a better free throw percentage. Overall, I really do enjoy it. I would love to know what your overall thoughts and opinions are on Fontecchio being the newest member of this Miami Heat organization. And really, I just enjoy the fact that the Miami Heat front office, including Pat Riley, are not asleep this offseason. They're going out there. They're making moves. No, they're not acquiring players like Kevin Durant and giving up all of their draft compensation for the next 10 years plus half of the roster they currently have. They're going out there and doing it in subtle moves by not drastically hurting their team, but by at least substantially, if not minimally, improving their team in one way or another. I think this is a great move. Let me know down below what your overall thoughts and opinions are, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest. Thank you guys for watching.